Hey, welcome. It's Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon. I want to thank you for joining us for this Sunday night live. We're getting ready to start here in just a couple of minutes here. We'll start about 8:30, but I wanted to welcome you. If you've never been to a live, here's what you can expect. Just go ahead and chat in your comment section, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. Just ask your question, leave your comment there, and then as we go through the time, I just kind of scroll down all the comments and I try to answer them. Now, if it's something that I need to ask you a question, I may ask you a question and just put it in the chat again, and I'll come back and I'll get that information so I can give you a more personalized response, something that's going to really add value for you. This is just something I do. One, it's great fun. I really enjoy it. It's helpful for the community. Just sharing my knowledge. Now, one thing that you need to know, I don't know everything about boats. I know a lot about boats. I've been a boater since I was 5. I've sold boats. It's something that is a big part of my life. With that said, I don't know everything. Matter of fact, sailboats, have zero experience with sailboats. Bass boats, very little experience there. Bow riders, deck boats, center consoles, jet boats, twin engines, stern drives, outboards, inboards, all of that I have experience with. And if I have an answer, I'll give you my best answer. If I don't have an answer, I'll try to give you a resource that will be valuable for you. If I have an opinion, I'll try to give you that opinion, but let you know this is what I think, not what I absolutely know. So I look forward to it. Here's a little video intro that a subscriber made for me. Thanks, Bo. And we'll see you on the live when it kicks off here in just a moment. Welcome everybody to the Sunday Night Live here. We are at the end of September as Ray and Brock have been chatting back and forth. It is fall. It is. You can feel it outside. I was down in Carolina Beach, which is right outside Wilmington, North Carolina, this past week from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I was there, and it was hot during the day, but it was nice and cool in the mornings and the evenings. It was beautiful down there, filming the Confident Coastal Boater course. And I think it turned out real well. We had conditions were fantastic. It was nice and calm the day we went offshore, and maybe 1-2 footers is all. Did a little bit of fishing, but got a ton of video shot. Got a lot of different experiences. Came back, filmed a bunch of the interview and the educational stuff, the informational pieces, and then went back out as the hurricane was stirring things up offshore, and we're able to go out in some rougher conditions and look at making the go, no-go decisions and planning out trips and things like that. So we had a nice combination of perfect and getting a little sketchy. As a matter of fact, on the way back in, we made the decision to run up another 15 minutes up the coastline to come in a different inlet, so we didn't have to come in the Carolina Beach inlet, which was getting a little bit hairy, and we got some good footage. Unfortunately, I running through the inlet the first time in probably 4 to 6 footers in a 30-foot pursuit, twin Yamahas on it. Well, we were showing how to do it right, how to read the water, how to stay in the channel, know where stay away from the breakers, how to run the, on and off the throttle at the right times. And then we decided to show what not to do. Well, that turned out very poorly. We had a wave crash over the bow. It broke over the bow. One of my cameras is at the bottom of the ocean now. Another camera got smashed into the T-top, and hopefully I can bring that back to life and salvage some of that footage. But the training was going great. It's exactly what I wanted. And like I said, hopefully we can salvage some of the footage. But that was a pretty exciting time. I felt like I was going through Hullover Inlet and like, oh, man, this is nice and comfortable. And then when he just did something a little bit off, some of you coastal guys might be able to relate to it. It was, quickly things went poorly. So, but he was a licensed captain and had been running boats for 40 some years. So I was in good hands. He was a great instructor, Captain Tim, and can't wait to get through all the footage over the next couple of weeks and have that ready in October. So that all came together well. Welcome, Corey. Welcome, Ray. Welcome, Brock. Glad to have you guys. Let's see. Worked 48 years for U.S. Steel, many years around acid, moderate COPD, hot, humid, very hard to breathe. Yes, yes. So that hopefully the Ray had mentioned some health issues that were catching up with him, and hopefully that is getting some better news on that. Gary, welcome from Annapolis. Big boat show coming up here. Yeah, the Annapolis boat show is. I saw that. What did I get? Prop Talk. I got the Prop Talk magazine, which is a magazine from up there, and I saw that coming up. Mickey, welcome. Or Mikey or Mickey. I'm not sure I can read. It's late. I had an awesome setup. I'm not a big planner, so when I went down to Wilmington, I was like at the last minute, I was packed up, everything in the truck. I'm like, all right, told my wife, I'll let you know what hotel I'm staying at. Well, on the way down, I'm like, why am I staying at a hotel? Maybe there's an Airbnb for a boat. So I ended up staying on a trawler right at the marina. We were probably quarter of a mile from the intercoastal, and about 5 minutes away from where Captain Tim kept his boat. So it worked out perfect. But I had a couple of nights where I was up working, kind of readjusting how the program was set up. I didn't get a ton of sleep while I was down there, was up bright and early. And so I'm pretty exhausted. So if we don't have a ton of questions, this one might end a little bit early. But if you've got a question, throw it in the chat. Definitely want to get to everybody if we can. No, I'm not, Eric. I am not heading to the Annapolis show. I've got my book. I'm in the process of finishing. Just to give you a little taste of it. This is the draft version. Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon. Avoid expensive, frustrating, and embarrassing blunders buying a new or used boat is the working title right now. I've got probably 50% of it done, and it's at the editor. So, but this is the book. I just wanted to get one printed so I could show it and do some videos as we start to offer that to people. We're probably going to offer it. If you want to buy the book, you can get the book for $20 or whatever at Amazon or Barnes and Noble. Pretty much any bookstore you can order it. But I also plan on giving it away as just a free download. So if you want to grab a copy of that, you can get that. Try to make it easily accessible for people. And so I'm excited about getting that wrapped up. Hopefully in the next month and a half, 2 months, get that done. And the International Boat Builders Expo, IBEX, that I went to last year, canceled due to the hurricane. It looks like it's going to be coming up the Gulf Coast, and they said, you know what, they were on and off, and they said, you know, we've got to cancel it. We can't, in good faith, bring everybody in. They've got a bunch of boats that are on the docks where they're showing Seakeeper's got a new trim tab type system, which looks amazing. I was really looking forward to seeing that. I ran the Hydrofin boat last year. I ran the electric outboard from Marine Vision. And what else did I run? I ran the Seakeeper boat as well. And they had a bunch of others, Wet Sounds and Dometic had their steering. So all of that got canceled. I don't know if they're going to reschedule it. I would imagine that they can't. So I think that's just going to be canceled due to the weather. But I may be going to the Fort Lauderdale boat show at the end of October. I think that'll be the next one that's on my list. But the Annapolis show, I don't know what comes first, the power or the sail show, but I hear that's amazing. I've never been, but I hear that's a fantastic event. Definitely to the Powerboat No Sailboat show the following weekend. I love going to boat shows, man. To me, it's a fun time and interesting to see what's all out there. Oh, Corey, pull the boat out, winterize, park it for the year. Looking forward to the spring. Yeah, it's a bittersweet, you get that last couple runs in. Fortunately, here in the Carolinas, we can run till October, even November. It's not uncommon for me to go out in November. We've got the Christmas light parades that happen in like mid December, where everybody decorates their boats and do a Christmas parade. So you really can run 12 months out of the year here. You have to be cautious because it can freeze. So if you run a stern drive, you've got to be, make sure that you drain it in between those times. If you're running an outboard, you're in pretty good shape as long as you keep your motor down and don't let any water get frozen in the hubs. But yeah, I remember back in Nebraska, man, we would Labor Day weekend, maybe once or twice after that. And then it was pack that baby up, get it all dried out, get it cleaned out, and tuck it away for the season. Let's see. Stephen Safferty, just goes to show for all of us a little humility goes a long way. Thanks for the reminder, Captain. Yes, it was. A matter of fact, I put a little video together. I haven't made it public, but here, let me see if I can show it to you guys because it was. I texted with Captain Tim this morning, and he's like, "Man, that was a great learning. I hope we can salvage some of the footage because that was a great learning experience," and it was. I mean, it is. You'll see it. It's just a couple minute clip. Let's see if I can make this work here. It is. It goes to show you how powerful and how much respect you need to give the water because it doesn't look like this is a so I don't know if you can hear it, but he's talking through power down. So it it was as you can see, it was a pretty exciting there for a second, and we were only doing maybe 10, 11 miles an hour, so we weren't even going excessive speed. Obviously, he's a very capable captain. He runs fishing charters out of there, and he's like, I go through this inlet 100 times a year and in all different conditions. He's like, this isn't even the worst. I've gone through much worse than this. But when you do it the right way, it's uneventful. But when you don't know how to run the throttles properly, those are the types of things can happen. You see it on the Haulover Inlet videos. It's the first time I experienced something like that, and it was kind of an oh shit moment for me. But you can see we had our life vest on, and hopefully I could salvage that because I think the training value of running through the inlet and showing the right way to do it, the proper way to do it, so you can see the waves off the starboard side bow is where I had the camera up. We were just right off the windshield, right down the center line of the bow. That's the one that ended up in the drink and is at the bottom of the Carolina Beach Inlet, or was if it didn't get washed out. But it was really I think it was a great training. I think we're probably gonna have to go back and reshoot it if I'm not able to salvage the camera that crashed. So, um, welcome Todd, welcome John. Yes, I did. I got sustainability. Or John was able to. He sent me a bunch of pictures. Like I said, I was traveling all last week. I got in late Friday night, back to the house. Spent Saturday with my girls, my wife wasn't feeling great. So I kind of took the girls. Today has been just a rest day. So I haven't gone through a ton of my emails in detail, but I did see that I got that one from you. And well, I'll go through all that tomorrow. I've got a couple calls early in the morning, but we'll get through there. Did you hear from anyone around here? I can't. I would have to go through. I would have to go through and look to see if we had any sales come in that area. I just get a notification when a sale is made, but I don't see. I have to actually go into the details to see what state they're in, and actually go into like my credit card processing side of things where I can see the address because we don't collect the address because everything is digital. But I appreciate that, Ray. I definitely appreciate you sharing that information. Anytime you folks share either a video or my programs or let people know, that is so appreciated. You have no idea how much of a difference that makes over the long haul. And even if it's they don't buy right away, but they start watching the videos and eventually they're like, hey, this is a guy I trust. And it leads to them kind of joining the community like all of you. Um, yeah, the prop talk. Matter of fact, I grabbed it when I was in Wilmington. If you go to the the West Marine here in Charlotte, they've got it usually. I picked this one up in Wilmington, and I've actually put an ad in there once or twice just to test it, like a year ago. I haven't retested it, but they they do. I don't know how much further down it goes than here, but we do get it. Yeah, the okay, so the sailboat show is first. Powerboat show is always the weekend before. Okay, powerboats first, sailboat second. I knew they did both, but I knew it was. Yeah, I've heard the switch over from sail to or whatever the order is. I've heard that was always interesting, getting all those boats out and then right back in. Just made arrangements with my marina to haul out, winterize, shrink wrap 1st of November. No freezing danger here until January. Really interesting. I would have thought that it would have hit a little bit early. I guess being on the water, it doesn't happen. Tom, it depends. It depends on what type of boat, and it depends on the area. Um, I know that you have emailed me before, but I don't remember what kind of boat you have, Tom. Let me know because it will matter. The cruisers, usually cruisers that are going to be left in the water, 28 and larger, no impact. It's expected to be bottom painted. If it is at the coast, bottom paint's a little bit more common on other styles of boats. So it's less of an impact, but still an impact on, bow riders that are, we'll say 26, 28 feet and below. That's going to impact your resale. On the pontoons, it's going to impact your resale. On the cruisers that are trailerable, 26 to 24 and below cuddies, it's going to impact. The cruisers, it's not going to be as much because that's 50-50. That could be in the water, it could be trailerable. But the reason it hurts is when it's sitting on the trailer, the aesthetics of it don't look as good. So it's really a matter of the style of boat. Center consoles, I would say it's the same thing. It's gonna hurt the resale until you get up to a 30 plus footer that you might leave in the water. But again, like I said, on the coast, it's a little bit more common, so it's a little bit more forgiving. But freshwater, matter of fact, I told my buddy the other day, he and his wife just bought a condo up on Lake Norman, so they have a place they've got the boat up at a marina there. They live in Charlotte. They bought a condo and have a slip. He's like, can I just paint the bottom or do I need to spend 12 grand on a lift? And I said, James, you really are going to be better off spending 12 grand on a lift, because what will happen is if you paint the bottom, you just hurt your resale value by, couple grand. Plus that's going to cost you every 3 years. You've got 2 to 3 years. You've got to repaint it. You're going to have to pull it and sand and paint the drives. you're gonna have to pull it anyway, because you don't want to leave it in year round when you're never up there. They've got a kid in college that might stop by, but he's not going to go check the boat every day. I said, if muskrat gets it, you have the possibility of sinking. The depreciation on the quality or the condition of the boat's going to go down. The Now you've got the paint. I said it's gonna, and you can resell that lift for 50%. When you're done with it, and you're going to come out, it's going to be about equal, but the boat's going to be in better condition. There's less risk. And so I like that option. If you can put a lift in where you are, I like that option for sure over painting. His is a chaparral, a 24 foot chaparral. So the bow rider, stern drive, fresh water, it's really going to hit you. That's going to be the big one. Pontoons are going to be another one, because it aesthetically it looks bad when it's on the trailer. Let's see. I don't see Tom, I don't see your response to what the style is. So hopefully, hopefully I answered your question there. Bo, good to have you. Um, Notification pulled me from a real-time sinking of the Titanic sister ship. Pretty interesting. I'll have to check that out. Um, Britannic. Yeah, I'll have to check that story out. Thanks for sharing that, Bo. Um, don't pay the ransom. I've escaped. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that was in response to, Boater Tom, but I may have missed something in the comments there. Heard from a bartender friend, powerboat weekend, great tips. Sailboat weekend, not so much. It is it is a different world, a different I don't say different person, but it's a different world. The sailboaters and the power boaters, they are very much a different different group of folks. The marina I was at had it was probably 50-50. I was on it was an old, probably 36-foot trawler, which was perfect for me. I was by myself. I had all my camera gear, a great view of the sunset, but there were sailboaters down the line and 32 Freedom Boat Club boaters. So in the mornings and the evenings, there was some interesting action coming and going from the marina. But yeah, they're different personalities for sure. Come back from the lake on Sunday. It's hard to catch this. Better late than never. Elliot, glad to have you. Glad to have you joining us. It's Matt from 2 videos ago. I trade the financial markets. That's where Elliot Wave comes from. Gotcha. Yeah, you guys, who did it? Bo did it. Saint Dorcas, Bo. He has like 3 different screen names. I got to hard keep up with him. Sustainability, I think, is on today. I think he changed his name, so I gotta keep up with what's going on, who everybody is. So welcome, Matt. Um, Update from MMI. We got our hands on an old school OMC Cobra engine, the Heshed 85 Sea Ray. Bo, tell me, what did they have to say about it? What were some of the things that now this is the Cobra, not the stringer drive. So it's a little bit different, but what were they saying about the OMC Cobra? What were you being taught about the Cobra compared to the Volvo that it became just, a couple years after that OMC went under? That became Volvo technology. I'm curious to see what they have to say as they're teaching about these drives. Boost this man's view like looking at a pilot house. Okay, that's right, the Defiance. Yeah, that one. Uh, I'm gonna say that it's not gonna help. Although if it was a if it was a 24, the more trailerable, but that pilot house. mm, um, That pilot house, I remember when we looked at it, that is well, this one, they've got it looks like just a black hole, so if you are ordering this boat, Tom, and you can order that black hole and then paint that because that's gonna be your water line basically. Now you're gonna be okay. Where it looks real bad is when it's a white hull and then you've got that black paint. And again, on a 22, now you're getting to the point where some people are gonna leave that boat in the water. It's gonna be much more common because it's a saltwater environment boat. If you're at the 24, I would say even more so, that less and less people are gonna trailer that boat, and it's a serious I say a serious boater that's going to buy this style of boat. You're not buying this boat if you're just oh, maybe boating will be interesting. This isn't the style of boat that you would get. So I still think it's going to impact you a little, but I would say it's you know it's on the lesser scale than if it was a bow rider, just a straight stern drive that would be in freshwater. You're in salt with the boat that's got a little bit of a cabin with that pilot house, and it's still likely to be trailered, but a little bit less likely. So I kind of put you in that. Yeah, it's going to impact you some, but if you can get the hull with that black gel coat down below, it's going to be less noticeable, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be less impactful. So I think you might be okay. And if you're going to leave it in the water, you need to do it. So it's a matter of can you dry stack it, or can you get a lift depending on where you're at? That may or may not be an option. Um, or if you don't have those options, then you just have to paint it because you don't want that boat sitting in the water for long extended periods of time without being painted at the coast. So then your resale value is really shot. So that would be Tom. That would be my thoughts on it. Um, Promise it won't change again. Well, yeah, as long as you tell me who you are, I'm like, okay, now I got it. It's the times when I like, oh, well, you reference something that we talked about under a different name, and I'm like, okay, I got it. Any observations or update in the market? New used boats slowing down, prices coming down to earth. What's happening? Yeah, I need to get this video. I keep saying that over and over and over. But here's what I'm seeing is interest rates are going up. I just talked to a mortgage guy the other day. I think he at a neighborhood party, 6% on the rates compared to under 4, under 3 in some cases just a year ago. So interest rates are definitely going up. You're seeing it on rec loans as well. Inventory levels are starting to build. Now, they are still low, but compared to what they've been over the past 3 years, there's inventory. It's Here's the deal is boat dealers traditionally carry millions of dollars of inventory. They haven't. It's been more of a just-in-time kind of delivery system is they've got maybe a handful of boats on the showroom floor, but it gets built on the truck. From the truck, they prep it and they deliver it to the end client, which is very unusual. We're getting back to a low level of inventory, but a little bit more normal level of inventory. But demand has gone down in certain segments. It's still fairly strong, but demand has gone down. I talked to somebody in the industry that was up in the Northeast, and he said it was about the week or 2 before Labor Day, and we saw demand just drop off. He's like, it was very, very noticeable for us in our area. I've talked to people in other areas, and they say, "Hey, we've definitely seen demand slow, but there's still demand there, and their inventory is starting to build back up." So I think what's happening is you're going to start seeing discounting to MSRP versus an addition to MSRP, which some dealers were doing, some manufacturers were allowing, some weren't. I think what you're going to see now is we're going to advertise our 35% MSRP, 35% margin MSRP, and we're going to sell it down at a 25, 20, maybe even as low as a 17, 18% um, margin. That's the kind of the traditional range that a dealer will try to be in, depending on the premiums are going to be a little bit higher. The value boats are going to be more towards 18, maybe down to 15 if it's a nationally advertised priced boat. They're going to usually add in some dealer prep or some other fees to get it up close to 18 to 20. Because of that, you'll start seeing the used values come down a little bit, because as the new boat prices come down, the used boat has to adjust. Otherwise, why would I buy that used one if it's the same price as a new? Now I'm going to go new when there's inventory available. What was happening is I couldn't get a new, so I had to go used, which was bringing the used up. New was up as well. So I think that we're going to see the prices dip down to, instead of MSRP plus in some cases, we're going to see that come down to MSRP is going to be up here, but we're going to come down to a dealer margin of 25 to, we'll say 15, somewhere in that band. Usually 20 to 18 is kind of a more common band, but that 25 to 15 will be where most of the deals are sold, which is going to bring the used down slightly. I don't think there's going to be a crash, assuming, always a caveat of assuming that the recession that everybody is predicting, which is, some say is here, depending on how you look at it, that's on its way or here, that it's not significant. It's not terribly bad. The inflation gets under control. And then as we hit March, April, May, where are gas prices? Where are interest rates at that time? Where's the economy? And that's when we're really going to see, in that springtime of, okay, are we going to see a big dip? Or are we just going to see a slight dip and a leveling out? I kind of predict, not being an economist of any kind, I kind of see it a slight dip and leveling out if the manufacturers don't overproduce. They've been adding capacity, um, dozens of manufacturers have added capacity to their factories, built facilities, been hiring. They've been having job fairs and career fairs and signing bonuses to get the craftsmen into their plants. Once they hit that normal, comfortable level of inventory for where the demand is, do they back off on production and just maintain? Or do they do what they do traditionally every time? They keep pumping out boats, and pushing them on dealers and pushing them on dealers and pushing them on dealers. Now the dealers have too much inventory, and now they have to start mass discounting and rebates and, dipping down to 10% deals and 8% deals and break even deals, just so they can get it off their floor plan and cut that interest expense and their curtailment payments and cash flow issues. If that happens, then I think we see a big slide in prices May, June timeframe. I hope that they're smart enough they've got time. It's like the perfect situation to manage this appropriately, because the dealers aren't slammed with inventory. They can continue to build boats and build their inventory to the right levels. And if they work with the dealers, they can build it and hit the right numbers. If they don't, and they go back to their old ways, they're going to overproduce. There's going to be a glut of inventory, and then you're going to see a big dip in prices on new, which is going to make the dip in used, and we're going to get back down to probably higher than they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but lower than they are now. So I need to put that. I've thought it all through. I've been thinking it through, and I just need to get it down in a video and share it with everybody. But yeah, and that's the other thing is the pipeline is still out of ordered boats for a lot of manufacturers, where they have another 6 months of building to continue to deliver sold boats to customers. As long as they aren't backing out of those deals in large numbers, there's still a large runway of boats sold. So my local Regal dealer confirmed to me earlier statement, 4% quarterly price increase starting Q4. Boats ordered now will be delivered next summer. Yeah, so that's that runway. That's that runway, and that's the, again, that 4% is an MSRP. I don't know for sure that it's a 4% cost increase to the dealer. It's a game that they play. I did a video on MSRP a couple years ago. It's a game they play. They do it in the auto industry where, oh, this MSRP is 80,000, but you can buy it for 60. Well, then MSRP is really irrelevant. It's kind of just a made up number. And so I don't know if that 4%, every time I've seen the price increasing, I've even seen some communication directly to dealers that I've been able to get my hands on. And um, sometimes it specifically said your cost is going to go up by this much. Sometimes it was referencing MSRP. So it's interesting, but that's my take on it right now because of the level of inventory, because of the runway of sold boats that they're building. I think they're going to be able to read the tea leaves and see, hey, demand's going down. We can't oversaturate our dealers with inventory because that's going to be detrimental. Now, that means that every manufacturer or most manufacturers have to make that decision. And you get a little bit greedy. You get a little bit greedy and say, hey, dealer, I know you only want 20 boats, but what if you took 30? And a year ago, the dealer was saying, I want 50 boats, and the manufacturer is saying, I can only allocate 10 to you. That's it. So it'll be a reversal. It was the dealers just like, what else are you going to do? You can't get the boat. So they had to take it. Now, when it flip flops and the dealer is saying, no, I only want 20, the manufacturer is saying, no, you should take 30. How is that conversation going to go? I don't know. I can say historically, they'll say, well, if you don't take 30, we can probably find another dealer in your market area to take them, and play a little bit more of a hardball. Some manufacturers are more loyal than others. It's an interesting game that they play. They're not really teammates in certain situations. My professor said he grew up in high school with a Cobra. Said he missed it, always preferred it over his uncle's Volvo. Apparently, whole shot was just as good as Jets. I'm sure that wasn't true. Little nostalgia coming into play. Yeah. Uh, yeah, that's part of it is, you know, everything's gone up. Inflation is not make believe. Inflation's hit everything. The cost of fuel has hit everything. Fiberglass, especially on Regal. Hey, that's what fiberglass is made out of. Those resins are heavily petroleum based, and that's a big part of it. Transport. You got to get all of those components to the manufacturer, and then you got to get the boats to the dealer. There is a lot of transport fees as well, and those have all gone up. The component parts have all gone up, so it makes sense that the prices continue to rise. And so a lot of that is real world increase that needs to be accounted for to run a profitable business. And not a fine the drive assembly. Glad they stopped that. Did you get a chance to take a look at the blue water? I haven't yet. I haven't yet, but as a matter of fact, because you may have missed it, but I was in Wilmington, North Carolina, filming the Coastal Confidence course. I left Tuesday morning and I didn't get back till late Friday. So I haven't done much of any emails. I'm way behind on as who was that? Somebody sent me an email that asked if I got it. But I've kind of spot checked emails for any customer service issues, people that can't get access. But I haven't done any going through or any additional research. So I will, matter of fact, let me write that down so I don't forget again. Matter of fact, I've got another phone call to return of a guy that called just before I left that was having an issue that I'm going to try to help out. Carlo Blue Water Bow. All right. Let's see here. Sustainability. Captain just got off the lake, minute late. Big storm rolled in the dark as the grid. Oh my. Yes, sustainability. I did get your email. That was a different email that John Um, I don't know that I got his, but yes, I did get all the pictures. Thank you very much. I just kind of glanced through them, but I haven't really had a chance. As I was saying, I just got back from Wilmington and traveling, so I will hopefully catch up this week. But I also have about 12 hours of footage on 4 different cameras, and so I've got a lot of video to go through, edit together to put the coastal program together. So hopefully, I can get caught up on the emails and get the video going. And by the end of the week, by the end of the month, I'll be back on track. New boat loans through South Carolina Federal here were around 4% last year on a $50,000 loan, standing 8.75 now. Manufacturers around here are still way behind on deliveries, mostly due to motors. Yeah, that's another interesting thing, Brock, is and another thing that is just a question mark in my mind is, yes, they have that runway of sold boats, but I've been on the Switch, the Sea-Doo Switch pontoon Facebook group is where I've seen it a bunch, where they're saying, "Hey, price has gone up. Whatever the price increase has, the boat that you were promised to get in July is not going to be here until November, and the price increase has hit. And now it's 8% more or whatever." And they're saying either take it or leave it. And some people are saying, "I'm out." You know, interest rates have gone up, the price has now gone up, and you want to deliver it to me in November. So now I've got to carry this boat for 5 months before I can even put it in the water and enjoy it. Everything got more expensive. And it's, I didn't have any say in this. I'm walking. How many are those going to happen where now they don't qualify at almost 9% interest, or they say, I can't take a boat loan at 9%. That's not, I'm not going to do that. And they walk. What percentage of that runway pipeline sticks, what percentage of that runway pipeline walks, and when do they get the motors in? When do they get caught up on the supply chain so that they can start turning boats out in a timely fashion? Boat gets done 100% complete and then goes to the dealer versus 95% complete, sits in a yard until that motor shows up. So I don't have a gut feel for how many boats are in that state. I know it's the bigger horsepowers. It's the, 250 plus, 200, 250 plus that are having the biggest issues. But because that's where the biggest demand is, I think. But I don't have any other insights on that. Do you have any opinions on the Regal LS4 bow rider looking at a 2013? Yes. Go to the channel. Bow rider. Oh, that's not what I want. Where are you? Use deck boats, cabin cruisers, bow riders. There we go. If you go check out this video right here, Corey, this is bow rider review. I review all of the brands that were at the boat show. I went to 4 different boat shows this past spring, and there's a pretty good section on the Regal. They're in the premium category. They do a great job. There were a couple that I found some wood in that was in a undesirable location, in my opinion. Regal has been building boats, and they're smarter than I am. I'm sure there's a reason they're putting it where they're putting it. But it just caught my eye as to have a raw piece of plywood in that area seemed sketchy. But so I would just talk to the dealer about that. I don't know for sure that it was the LS. I don't remember what model it was, but I talk about it in the video, and that will give you a pretty good run. What would you estimate Marine Max tries for margin? Tom, it's going to depend on the brand. They are, if it's a value brand, it's going to be slightly lower. If it's a premium brand, it's going to be slightly higher. But my gut would tell me they wanna hit, like most dealers, 18 to 25%, usually 18 to 22% in normal times. I'll tell you though that in the past 2 years, that 22% has been bumped up to 25, 30% in some cases, and, they've been able to get it. But in normal times, I think that's a pretty reasonable number. Again, if it is a nationally advertised boat price where the manufacturer sets the retail price and they say, this is the price, and don't sell it for more than this. Don't discount it unless it gets to leftover status or there's a certain aged inventory level that they'll hey, give us a call and we'll approve if a discount up over a discount to sell under the nationally advertised price, but they try to keep it, hey, this is the price. There's no negotiation. This is it. It's what Yamaha does on their boats. It's what you'll see Bayliner, Bass Pro Shop does with the Tracker series and some of their brands. MarineMax carries so many different brands in the different locations, but I think that would be a general range of where they are. And I've got no inside knowledge other than the store that I used to sell for is now a MarineMax. And I didn't hear any of the sales guys that I know say, "Holy crap, we've changed our pricing structure." Prices went way up or way down when they took over. So I think it would still be in a similar range. Let's see here. Corey, I have it taken out. Just came in the marina. Beautiful boat. Excellent fit and finish. Um, Yeah, I mean, the Regals they've been building boats for a long time. They've been building quality boats for a long time. I used to sell against them, so I knew them pretty well back in the 2009 to 2013 range. I always went to the Atlanta Boat Show, which was just outside my market where nobody knew me as a competitor, and I could go through a boat in detail. And they were about a month before our boat show here in Charlotte, so I knew that when I went to my boat show, I could be like, "Hey, go look at the whatever I was going to sell against on the boats." And our Regal and Cobalt and Chaparral dealers were really good in our market area, so I had to be on my toes on what I knew. Um, got that. On the topic of inflation, do you think that reintroducing two-stroke Mercuries on new deck boats could lower the cost brand new? I don't think they're gonna be able to. In the US, I don't think that 2 strokes are gonna see a comeback. I just with the EPA restrictions, I can't imagine that would happen unless there's some new technology that I'm not aware of. But as far as I know, all of the focus of new technology is let's continue to build bigger horsepowers, quieter on the four strokes, and let's either focus on or keep our eye on electric as the next thing. And you know, I've done my video on electric. I've put my opinion out there on my thoughts on it. But I think that as an engine manufacturer, those are the two things that you're focused on: bigger, better four strokes and electric. I don't know that anybody that I'm aware of is focusing back on the two strokes. Although I know there's a lot of people that would love it if they did. Um, it was. Let's see. I don't know if I can. That's Cobalt. That's Sea Ray. Chaparral. I've got a picture of it. It was raw plywood and it was used to mount. It was used to mount something as a between the deck and the there we go. Between the deck and the cockpit floor. Um, I don't know how well you can see these. Let me go big screen on that. There, okay. All right. So it wasn't, I'm sorry, it wasn't raw. This was in the ski locker, and it was the painted plywood. I must have had that mixed up with a different one. But painted plywood right there. And this is the ski locker. So the skis would come in from up top down in, and this would be the part. There's a bilge pump down there, probably access to some of the things. And this is me taking that little cutout out. And I apologize. It's not raw wood. That was another boat that I was thinking of. But check it out, and I kind of talked through it in that video. But 1618 is the timestamp on that. It's a 43-minute long video, so I go into detail on a lot of different stuff. But check that out. And if you have it in that boat, open your ski locker, stick your head down in there, and you'll either see it or it won't be there, and you'll know what yours is. And again, ask the dealer about it. And I can't imagine that you would be the first one to ask, and they should have some sort of a reasonable, make sense type of answer. Would you say the 2020 SSI are the same build quality as the H2? I Elliot, I think that the SSIs are a little bit better because they've always had the SSX and the SSI. The H2O was a model they introduced in like 08, 09, like after the recession, the last recession. They brought a value brand in, and it was built significantly different. They were still doing the SSI and the SSX. I'm going to say the SSI is maybe not significantly, but a noticeably better build quality than what the H2Os are. When you start looking at the thickness of the upholstery, when you start looking at some of the details of everything, even the height of the gunnels, it was just it's a I would definitely put it a step up. So, and when I did this review, I put the SSX as the premium and the SSI as a high level mid tier. I could have easily put them as a low level premium, but I put them in the mid tier because I wanted to make the distinction between the two. That there is a different level between them each. Now, again, when I say that, it doesn't mean that the SSI is cheaply built. It means that they built it to hit a lower price point, which means they cut back on some of the quality, some of the craftsmanship, some of the material. It's not significant, but it's enough to hit a $5,000, $10,000 price difference on a similarly sized boat. So I always try to make that clear that it's not that the boat's no good. It's not that it's just there's a difference, and I want people to know that. When you look at it, I think when you start looking at the details, and look for stuff like this as you're going through boats. Don't just watch these videos of best and worst and say, "Oh, okay, that's how Matt ranks them." Look at the things that I talk about, and then go look at the specific model that you're interested in and compare brand to brand to brand, and you'll notice the same things. And in some models they do it this way, in some models they do it that way. So I just don't have the ability to review every single model. I maybe someday if I get people to help and more people reviewing these and video editors and we become a bigger group, I don't know that's where I want to take this, but for right now, this is the best way I found to give honest information that is as unbiased as I can be, by not taking money from manufacturers, by not this being an ad like the boat test or the other review videos where they pay a marketing fee to have them come in and do or they sell them some ads and they do this video as a bonus, where it's it's not paid for, but it's paid for. I want to keep that. I want to keep that distance so I can just give an honest, unbiased review. Um, but that means that I don't have the deep pockets that they do, which means that I don't have staff and things like that. So, Marine Max Sea Ray margin, wrong hint on all my paperwork, getting tired, no action. May need another boat. Yeah, it is. I remember you, Boater Tom, you telling me the story. He had all of the wrong serial number. It was off just one digit, but one digit makes it a different boat. And maybe that boat exists, maybe it doesn't. And if I remember right, it was a used boat. So not only was Tom's paperwork wrong, but the previous buyer's paperwork was wrong, and now there's getting through it. And just like I talk about in my videos and in the First Time Boat Buyer Academy, why it's so important to check your paperwork is because it's fixable, but it's a pain. It's a pain, and sometimes having a dealer makes it a little bit better because you can always go back, and when you're ready to sell it, they'll get it straightened out for you, and they've got the paper trail that they can work with the DNR, and they've got a relationship. They've got a group of people that does that type of work. But right now, Tom, the reason that they're not responsive, I'm guessing, is because they've got a stack of other boats to get registered and get that paperwork done, that have been sitting there for 2 months, and that they're behind on those. And so yours, which is going to take a lot of effort, to get fixed up, there that's probably why it's not getting the responsiveness. Maybe sometimes what I find is if you just walk into the dealership and say, "Hey, listen, I really need to get this fixed up." Take a friendly, understanding approach, but being there in person says, "Hey, let's get this done. What do we need to do right now? I'm here, you're here, the paperwork's here. Let's get it going and see if we can get it done." So if they're not too far away, maybe something to consider. What kind of topics are you considering for new videos in the coming months? Any new additional plan? Best boat captain on the water courses? Yes. So the Coastal Confidence course was my biggest one that I needed to get done. The reason that was so difficult is because I wasn't the one to teach it. I've been a freshwater boater, I've done some coastal boating, but I didn't have the expertise to teach that course. So I went through multiple people, weather delays. I was finally able to get that one done. Once I get that completed, I will be doing, and I'm going to try to get them done in October and November, um, twin engine. So I've just had 3 refunds in the past week from people that said, "Oh, I've got a twin engine something or other." And I'm like, "Hey, here's what I can do. I can either refund you and let you know when the new one's ready, or just keep this one and I'll just give you the new one when it's done." They said, "No, just refund us and we'll buy it when it's done." So twin is on the list. Inboard is on the list. Single engine inboard, like I'm gonna do it on a wake boat. Um, Although it would work for an inboard, if you've got an inboard cruiser or something like that. But most of those boats, in my gut, that would get this are going to be the wakeboard type boats, jet boats, and then I've got single engine outboard done. I went down to Charleston and recorded that one. That one's complete, but it's not loaded up into my system. That's a project to get that done. So coastal, twin, jet drive, single engine inboard, wake boat, V drive, that setup. So those are the ones that are becoming on the best boat captain. And then when spring rolls around, I have a girl that was in my captain's class that has been on the Carolina show ski team, which they do the pyramids and they do jumping off the ramps and they do barefooting and wakeboarding and they do everything. And she's been doing it since she was 2. Her dad's on the team, is a boat driver. She's got her captain's license now. She's awesome. She's in college. She cleans boats on the side as her side job. She's just a really, really cool person. And so I've got her lined up to um, take my daughters and maybe a couple of their friends and do a how to teach kids how to water ski, how to teach kids how to wakeboard. I've already got the how to drive the boat for them, but I think that there's an area of need of I'm not a water skier. I've never wakeboarded before. I would love for my kid to do it, but I just don't know how to teach them. And Captain Sydney, they do every year, they do 2 or 3 weekends of teaching kids how to ski and wakeboard, and do those things with the show ski team as just a way to promote and recruit new kids. And so I think she's going to do awesome with that. But we tried to get up in August to do it. Um, but the weekend we had planned didn't work out. And then she had to go back down to Clemson where she goes to school and is now 2 hours away, 3 hours away, whatever Clemson is at school in a sorority and doing that kind of stuff. So it will be I'm gonna have to wait until probably April until it warms up enough to put my girls back in the water and have them help me do a program. If you have any other ideas, there's kind of two ways I look at content. Is there's there's teaching content that is I don't know how to make it interesting enough to turn into a shorter video. And there's the, hey, this is a need people have, and this is something I can sell for a reasonable amount, and I can produce better material when you pay me money for it because now I don't have to play to YouTube's algorithm and the what people want for free and will click on and watch is different than the information that they need for them to be successful docking. Like my best boat captain course is, I don't know how many hours of video, but it's not something that people are going to just sit down and watch the hours of information, which means that they're not going to get the value. But if they pay, $97 for whatever, now they're going to watch it. They're going to get all the detail. They're going to get all the value. So I try to separate the two. But if you have any ideas, Jerry, I'd be happy to hear them and see if I can create that. Took my wife 9 months to deliver a baby, took 9 months to deliver my Bennington. Yeah, I think, we're getting shorter on that, but yeah, there's still some that are taking a long time. Still think they're a good dealership, but fumbling in the red zone on this issue. Yeah, it's a pain, I'm telling you. When you have the wrong identification number on a boat, hull number, engine serial number, or trailer VIN number, it's a nightmare. And depending on the state, it can be more or less of a nightmare. But it certainly is. My local Riga dealer has been struggling all spring, all summer. New inventory. They're getting few boats. Annapolis Boat Show. Say new order. Yeah, that's the runway I was talking about. That 6 to 9 months of, hey, you want a boat? We can get you a boat, but it's going to be 6 to 9 months. And the economy, things can change a good amount during that time. All right, so we're coming up on an hour here. Let me same here, Sportsman, bigger bay boats, one offshore boats running 9 to 18 months. Interesting. Brock, that's one of the longer time periods I've been hearing. I don't think I've talked to any Sportsman dealers lately, but depending on the motor configuration. Yeah, and from what I understand, the bigger horsepower motors are the harder ones to get still. Professor calling me in for a special project, probably just going to show off his 3-cylinder, 2 hooks for non-mechanics. Controls my diploma. Cuddies for life. Hey, if you love a cuddy, and up in your area, up in Washington State, the cuddy makes a lot more sense. Down here in the South, man, I had a handful of clients that love their cuddies, but the other people that bought them, they had them for a year, and they're like, it's too hot to not have air conditioning in a cabin boat down here, and so they ended up moving to either a cruiser or just going with a bow rider or a pontoon. The one couple JR, I remember, I forget what his wife's name was, Pam. JR and Pam had a 97 Sea Ray Cuddy, and that boat, they loved it because it was rock solid. I mean, that boat was just like a tank. You could run that through anything and you didn't feel a thing. It was heavy. It was solid because you had the cuddy that, just made it like it was just a rock solid boat. It had a ton of fiberglass on it, and they love that one. Great weekend. Thanks, Corey. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And let me, if you got your last couple questions, throw them in there. Otherwise, I'm going to do a short version of the commercial. I forgot to run my scroll all day. Oh well, what are you going to do? So toolkit, if you're buying a boat, grab the Boat Buyers Toolkit. It's totally free. Boatbuyerstoolkit.com. The Boater Boot Camp, if you're a new boat owner, a 3-part video series on the things you need to know as a boat owner, maintenance, the components of your boat, the basic rules of the road that are just the basics that you need of running your boat safely and knowing how the kind of the rules of the road work, and then emergency situations, how to use a radio, safety equipment, things like that. It's a great program. From there, if you struggle operating your boat, so docking it, maneuvering it, getting control of your boat, tying it up at the docks, the best boat captain programs they're fantastic. They are great. We've got the single engine, we've got the pontoon versions. As I mentioned, we're working on the twin, jet, and inboard. Those will be done in the next. Well, they'll be ready by next spring. Hopefully, they'll be ready by January. But um, tow water sports with confidence. Learn to ski and wakeboard the easy way. That one's coming. That's one I was talking about with Captain Sydney. Trailer like a pro is if you struggle at the boat ramp, loading, unloading, backing. That program will take care of that. The Confident Coastal Boater, I just filmed this one last week, so I've got a lot of editing to do, but my goal is to have that one ready by the week of October 10th. And I think we got all of the footage. If I didn't lose the inlet footage, I'm going to be super happy. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go back and refilm that, which would suck because we had great conditions for showing what not to do. And if you are buying a boat and you want a little bit more hand holding, First Time Boat Buyers Academy is fantastic. You walk through it step by step, talking about things like double checking serial numbers on the boat and the paperwork before you sign the paperwork so you can catch it beforehand and not have to deal with what Boater Tom was dealing with. There's also the negotiation piece, which is going to become more and more valuable as the supply and demand curves switch, and it becomes more of a buyer's market than a seller's market. I think that's going to save a lot of people a lot of money because it saved people a lot of money during a seller's market. So there you go. Everything comes with the money back guarantee. For whatever reason, you're not happy. Like I said, I refunded several people that when it had twins. Refund. Just here you go. This is the situation. It'll come back out and I'll get it to you. And I got the refunds back to them that same day. Captain Matt, new Yamaha Salt H2O. I'm mooring in the Northeast. What's your opinion on regular engine flushing? Depends on Joseph, how often you run the boat. So if you're running the boat every day, you're okay. You don't, you can flush it and it's probably better, but it's slightly better. What's problematic is when you run that boat and then you don't run it for a week. Now that salt's sitting in there and corroding and causing issues on the internal components. Hey, you're on a mooring ball. You can only do so much, right? So if you don't have access to water, there's not much you can do. But if you have a fresh water system on your boat, can you configure it to connect to that flush port and at least flush a portion of the engine? It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. It's one of the things we talked about in the Coastal Confidence program when we talked maintenance is some is better than none. You know, can't do it perfect. Well, do what you can do. And if you can come up with a way to get water through that flush port from your freshwater system, great. I'm not aware of any attachments that would allow you to do it, but I'm certain that they exist. I would guess somebody here, Brock may know, but I'm certain if you go to West Marine or if you look around, you can find some sort of an attachment that will get you to just a regular hose end that you can pull off your freshwater pump, pull it out of your freshwater tank, boom, in there, flush it, and call it good. So it's yeah, I think the key is something doing it okay job is better than not doing it at all in that situation. And again, the longer that you're going to be away from the boat, the longer that boat's not going to be run, the more important that flushing is. So a day, okay, you're probably not going to cause serious damage. A week, 2 weeks, a month. Now I'm gonna want to come up with some way to flush that puppy out. Um, Corey, thanks for being with us. Glad to have you. Had a buddy just take delivery of a 302 Sportsman triple 350 Yamis, 17 months and 2 days. He said it's done the 14-month mark, just waiting for the 350s. Um, yeah, that's amazing. Took another 3 months just to get the motors on that thing. I hope he didn't drive by it and see it and just have that just calling his name. Got your T-shirt. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I saw I saw that order come through. As a matter of fact, I would love if you wouldn't mind sharing a picture of your grandson in it. That would be awesome. If you're not comfortable putting your grandson on on something, don't worry about it. But if you would be cool with that, I think that would be a great picture to put up. Um, my name suggests I'm on electric propulsion, but basic tri-tune would need at least kilowatts to make coming close to the way yeah, it's the same thing I talk about sustainability, and sustainability sells solar setups. And same thing I talk about in my video from last year's IBEX when I ran the eVision Marine, the 180 electric outboards, is it was that the range. It was the range at higher RPMs. Yes, they can advertise 8-hour battery life if you're going to idle everywhere. Some people do that. If you do, it can be a great solution. But if you want to get on it and run at any speed, well, that 8 hours goes down to 2 hours real quick. And for me, that's not enough. For most boaters, if you're gonna do some tubing, if you're gonna run an hour to a restaurant, well, you can just get back. Nothing else. Just get back. Hopefully, assuming there's no wind or current that's going to take you a little bit extra one way or another. So it's yeah, but it's a technology that is going to continue to improve. Battery life, battery density of power, I think is one of the big things that will matter. And there's a lot of people putting a lot of money towards it. GM with their Pure Watercraft investment. There's some former Tesla guys, or the Tesla or SpaceX, former SpaceX guys that have a boat company, Candela, maybe up in Canada, that is getting a lot of investors. We'll call them celebrity investors that are putting money in them. There's some others, what is it? Not Echo. Up near the Chesapeake. Diane, there's a lady I know, her and her husband are doing a green boat, electric boat with hydrofoils. And so they're going out. There's a lot of people doing it, a lot of money, big companies, smaller people with smaller budgets trying to get more creative. And there's something going to come of it. It'll just, I think it's 10 years off. So, Edward, welcome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I always love to hear that people are getting value from the courses, the videos, and all that. My freshwater tank just takes a standard hose. You can connect it together. Okay, there you go. Perfect. I didn't know it was that easy. I thought there was going to be an attachment that would be needed. Check it out. Awesome. Seen a guy lose an impeller offshore, uses raw water wash down. That's a great idea. Read your manuals. Some of them you can use the flush port with the engine running. Some of them you don't want to do that. So just make sure you know how yours is set up, and so you don't cause a problem. But that is a great on the fly move to get you home. Awesome. All right. Like I said, I had a long week, and am short on sleep here a little bit. So I appreciate you guys, and we'll see y'all next week. Yes, Elliot, the horn going out, other than the speedometer not working on the older models where you just had a little pinhole in the leading edge of the bullet on your lower unit, that would get clogged, and the speedo would quit working in a second on some lakes that had even just a little bit of debris in it. But the second fastest thing to go out on a boat is the horn, because as soon as you take a wave over, or depending on where it's placed, if it gets rained on, if they get too wet, it's a speaker, and it goes bad. So its horns are not uncommon at all. It's why I talk about it in the boat buyers, the boater boot camp. I talk about go and get yourself a $7 whistle. The marine whistles are a little bit more expensive. They make a louder, more distant making sound so that you're legal. Get yourself a whistle, and no matter what your horn does, you're legal. And the reality of the situation, especially on a chaparral, you're probably boating on a lake, and the only reason you're using your horn is to honk at your buddy or something like that. And they very, very seldom get used in the real world. Yes, you're supposed to, blow your horn when you're overtaking somebody on the port or starboard. The reality of pleasure boaters is it doesn't get done. And if you were honk at somebody, they're going to get all mad at you because they don't even know what that honk means. And so very common. Talk to your dealer. Tell them, hey, my horn's out. Next time I'm in, I want you to get it replaced, so that you get it marked down for the warranty, depending on what the timing is. But throw a whistle on your boat because it's probably going to happen again. And that way you're prepared. All right, Stephen, thank you for joining. And you guys all have a great night, a great week. And Bo, I've got your Monte Carlo Blue Water boat written down here on my notes. And sustainability, I'll go through those pictures in a little bit more detail. Thank you very much, John. I will look for your email and see. I'm certain it's in there. But like I said, I've probably 7 days behind on really getting through email as I was getting ready to head to the coast, and then filming, being on the boat, not having great internet there. And but I'll be in all week editing some videos. So thanks, guys. Have a great week.